I just came back from a conference called Firestorm in Harrisburg, hosted at the Life Center Church. That's where Pastor Charles Stock, he's the leader of that guy, incredible man. He's a fascinating individual. He was used majorly in the Jesus People movement, and he was actually quite influential in Lonnie Frisbee's life. So for people who know who that is, just fascinating history, and I just love talking to him because he's an old hippie, and that's just my people. So I got invited to this conference, and I knew instantly I'm supposed to be there because it's called Firestorm. So like, hello, theme of my life, burning ones, angel of fire, firestorm. Yeah, okay, let's go. And I went there, and I was not prepared for what happened. Like, I was excited to go. I was only speaking one session, and I stayed for the entire conference because I wanted to get blasted. And I got blasted, to say the least. Excuse me. One of the other speakers there was Cindy Jacobs, and I was like, I told people, I'm cool to meet a lot of people, but for Cindy Jacobs, she's been a hero of mine for as long as I can remember. So it'll be like, hey, nice to meet you, great man of God. Hey, nice to meet you. Like, Todd White was there, and I talked to him, like, hey, you're sweet, you're a cool guy. You know, and then Cindy Jacobs walks in, and I go full fangirl, like, oh my God, it's Cindy Jacobs. You know, so we started chatting, and I shared with her some stuff about my life, and she probably thought I was wacko, but whatever. And I've never heard her speak before, which is crazy. And I was in awe of watching this woman and watching how she can operate in the Spirit. I've never seen anything like it. And just the ability of her to operate in authority and in power. And she'd be like telling jokes and all that kind of stuff. And then she'd get all intense, bah, 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 and people would be flying all over the place and getting healed all over the place. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And so I told her a little bit about my desire of raising up burning ones. I told her just a tiny, tiny bit about that, and about how I had the visitation from the angel of fire and all that kind of fun stuff. And she just looked at me and she goes, do you know about the Society of the Burning Hearts?
You are to start this new Society of the Burning Hearts. I'm going to cause you to burn.
Excuse me. She said for her, that's been a life message of the Society of the Burning Hearts. And I can't remember right now, but it was from a long time ago. And she said people would gather together, and their phrase was, are you burning? Are you still burning? And,
are you burning? Are you burning? Are you burning? And Father, I thank you for that anointing.
that's when they gathered together, they'd say that, and to make sure that they're doing everything through and in the fire of God. And so she gets up on stage after we had our little chat, and she gets up on stage, does the meeting. And the whole time she'd tell a story, and she'd stop and she'd go, Kayle, you're gonna like this one. And just point, Kayle, you're gonna like this. So, and always about the burning one. Say, oh, this is another one about the Society of the Burning Hearts. Kayle, you're gonna like this. And I'm like, this is so weird. There's a couple of thousand people there and you're preaching to me. But I thought, bring it on. This is mine. So she gets through this whole thing, and then she stops and says, Kayle, come up on stage. I have something to give you. And I'm just like, this is crazy. I don't know what to do. And so I had my phone and I was going to record it, but I was too, I don't know, I was too nervous or whatever. And I just put my phone on the seat that I was sitting in and went up and forgot to record it. But thankfully somebody else grabbed their phone and they videoed it. And she got me up there and she started talking about her anointing in with Latin America.
1984, when I saw the angel of the Lord touch Colombia and outline the continent in fire, and it burst into flames. And God said, I'm going to use you for revival in this continent.
Her anointing in with Latin America. And that's like a huge thing for me, is how the Lord brought me over that map of South America, of Latin America, how the Lord brought me over a map of Latin America, and I got to see all the burning ones and all the places of fire. And she said, that's what happened to me. She's like, God gave me an anointing for Latin America. God gave me the fire for Latin America. And she was telling stories about Colombia and about meeting presidents and about transforming cities and all this kind of stuff. And then so she starts prophesying over me that and about the Amazon River.
I'm going to use you in Brazil, all along the Amazon, and those unreached peoples, those different dialects. God says, I'm going to send you up the river because I called you to be a pioneer.
And she says this thing, which, this is what I love about prophetic words, is you hear and you hear what is God speaking through it. She said, you're going to bring teams to Latin America, teams of fire, and that's the very thing that I'm wanting to do, is to start bringing burning ones into Mexico City. And anybody who's been in a meeting with me has heard me say this. I am bringing teams to Mexico City so that we can worship and we can pray and we can burn in the middle of the human trafficking zones. And so she says that, and I'm just like, bah! I start crying. And she grabs me, and like I had my eyes closed, and I was trying so hard to keep my eyes open, and I looked at her in the eyes, and she starts pointing at my face. Are you still burning? Are you still burning? Are you still burning? And I'm,
are you burning? Are you burning? Are you burning? And Father, I thank you for that anointing.
I'm like, I don't know what's going on, because that was that phrase of the Society of the Burning Hearts. And then she said, and I'm here to give you that anointing of the same fire for Latin America. And she grabs my hands, and the moment she did that, I don't know how to describe it. It's been years since I felt something like this. Years. I don't know how many years. But I felt like somebody took a baseball bat and cranked me right in the chest.
I give it to you.
But I didn't feel any pain, but I could feel the force of it. And I rocketed down to the ground, and the whole church went, ah! And I hit the ground, and I just started shaking as as Cindy was, bow, 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 saying all that stuff. And then she just turned around and kept on preaching. And I was laying there on the, whatever you call it, on the stage going for it. And I was drunk in the spirit. I was overwhelmed in the spirit, whatever you want to say. I was wasted for a good 6 hours after that. Like I could barely move, and anybody who came around me was getting all schnockered too. And I had some good friends of mine, they were sitting at the back, and they came up front because they wanted to take photos, because like, oh my gosh, Kayle's getting prayed for. And they said they couldn't get near the stage because the presence of God was so strong, and they would start falling over too. So I was like, oh. And so that changed me. And I know I received something from God. I know I received something through impartation from Cindy as well. And I cannot wait to get back into Latin America. I know we are going to raise up the burning ones. I cannot wait to bring in those teams. I can't wait for those of us who know me and have heard me talk and have been with me. You've heard me say this so many times. It's going to happen. We're going to bring the burning ones into Mexico City. We're going to bring the burning ones into Latin America. We're going to bring the presence of God. And now I feel like I got the spiritual impartation, and we're starting to do the rollout now of the first teams coming in. And so I'm so excited to see what's going to happen. It's going to happen.